All right. Again, how are you, Kamel?
I'm great. I'm great. Always good to be in Lagos with you.
I know. Okay. So it's been a couple of months since we've been partners. Obviously, Globalinfoswift, I believe, may have added some value to to Emtech so far.
Just a little
Okay.
bit.
And I think there's still a lot for us to do in the marketplace. And I just want us to talk about what we expect or what we intend to do probably in the next couple of months in Nigeria and obviously looking at Africa at large, particularly around capacity building, because we find out in Nigeria, particularly, that there's a knowledge gap. I'm glad we started the FinReg, which is again building capacity within the country.
Yes.
But again, I think we need to plan for the future. I think it was a huge success.
Yeah.
We need to plan on what next we need to do. So I want to hear your thoughts around what we need to do in terms of building capacity, not only in Nigeria, but across Africa at large.
I think FinReg Learn was a great pilot for us, and not only for us as partners, but for us to deliver something that was validated to be of value, which is really important to us. You know, we're a technology provider, we're a technology builder. But one thing that really captured our interest and that really got us excited to partner with GIC is the focus and the understanding of how important capacity building and training actually is. And that will continue for as long as I can see, because technology changes. Fintech and financial services and technology and innovation is not going away. So education is always going to be needed. And I think the more we lean into that, the more we invest in that as part of the package, if you will, the better we are. The more value we actually get to deliver for our clients. As a company, we take very seriously and not bringing technology in and just leaving.
Yeah.
We continue. We're partners.
Yeah.
Not only do we bring technology, but we enable and we
Yeah.
build capacity. And thank you for helping us.
I think
do
what
that.
is most interesting, thanks, Kamel, is the fact that from what we did, the first successful FinReg, right, we realized that people were even logging in from other parts of Africa,
Yeah.
from Mali, from Botswana, from
right.
Kenya, and so on and so forth. So holistically, I think it's an African dream for us to really build capacity across Africa. So as partners, I mean, what are your thoughts in terms of how do we really fulfill, if you like, the African dream?
I mean, I think we can definitely take advantage of tools that are available to us. The fact that I think one thing that made this possible is the fact that we made it an online. And, finding the balance between in-person, because I think people still enjoy in-person sessions as well. Bonding, learning together, asking questions and so on, versus being in the office and then having something on and watching. I think the combination of both will be valuable. But that proved, right, that there's interest, there's hunger to learn from across the continent. And I would even argue globally, to be honest with you, because what we're seeing right now is just a new time. Those are new topics, new ideas to discuss, and I think there's so much to learn, and people found value in that. So I think
amazing.
There's way more to come.
I'm particularly very excited. The reason being that, I mean, we've had several partners, but our partner with Emtech is really very unique, to be honest. And in terms of the value that we see and the immediate impact that we see in the marketplace, particularly for the fintechs, okay? Because the fintechs, the biggest risk they have is regulatory risk.
That's right.
And for Emtech coming and saying, you know what, we're going to bridge the gap and we're going to put a layer called sandbox, which is a buzzword that people now know the meaning. So it's very exciting for the fintech industry. And for us, we see the immediate impact of the fintechs we've been talking to. Particularly with the e-hackathon that Central Bank just did. There were over 5,000 fintechs that were onboarded, and then Central Bank is saying, how do we hold on or continue not only to educate, but to give these people a platform where they can continue to innovate? I think that's the value we bring to the table. So I think as partners, we need to look into the 5,000, how we're going to onboard these people so that we don't lose their steam.
Yes.
And what are your thoughts around ensuring this, we do not lose, this capacity or this passion that this fintechs do have, and how do we help them to totally probably eradicate the regulatory risk that they currently find in the market?
Yes, and I think one thing that's exciting to me, which is not particularly intuitive at first, but is fintechs who are engaging the central banks, and now central banks, really opening their arms and saying, please come talk to us, and we're trying to collaborate with you, and we want to give you a tool for you to go innovate. And I had one of those fintechs actually tell me how the central bank said, here are the APIs, here are the things that, take it and go innovate, go co-create, go find partners, go find ideas, go solve problems that we as central banks cannot. So I think that's really exciting, because when you create an environment like that, I heard somebody else say that, and I think it's true. I think the best ideas are the ones that we have not even heard yet.
Fantastic. Now, talking about the fintechs, right? As partners, we've also been getting calls from states.
Yes, yes.
And so everyone is looking to solve problems. But I mean, rightly so, because obviously you have different sectors. You have the transport, you have health, you have, other sectors that are looking to innovate. Okay, so in terms of the Emtech's plan, because we need to move you to every state, if you like. So how do we again help the state to solve some of these problems, also leveraging our sandbox technology?
Sure, it's exciting to us to hear kind of government agencies now, not even just a regulator, wanting a sandbox. So I think everybody's going to have a sandbox eventually. No, but the tool really kind of captures something that it's been difficult for many stakeholders when it comes to either tapping into the innovation, given how broad and diverse that can be. It's very hard to understand that in paper-based processes or one-on-one engagements. Instead, how can you really digitize a process and approach it in a digital way, right? Instead of approaching digitization in a paper-based way. So that was our innovation. That was our eureka moment, and say, wow, you're trying to regulate or you're trying to understand innovation. You have to do it digitally too. So the technology is built in a way that, interesting enough, captured the imagination of states when they heard what we were doing. And we're really excited about that, because it can be deployed. It can be really leveraged to talk about how do you incentivize innovation in different industries. That's exciting.
Okay, one last question.
Yes.
Okay, talking about the fintechs we have been engaging as your partner, one of the big elephants in the room anytime we begin to engage is, how do we even raise money? Money. How do we raise funds? How do we attract investors to come into our country to invest more? I mean, in fintechs in particular, we have success stories like Flutterwave and so on and so forth. Okay. We have Kuda. What advice would you give fintechs in terms of accessing funds, foreign funds, direct investment, from your wealth of experience, so to speak?
Sure. So I think there's such an opportunity. We didn't particularly start for that, but eventually stumble upon a problem and an opportunity, a problem that the regulator wants to see you ready to go to market before you go to market, before they license you. And, the capital requirements can be pretty high. Part of it is to make sure that you have enough capital to, if you're going to do lending, if you're going to provide certain financial services, they want you to be able to be well capitalized. Sometimes that's very hard for a startup. And you go and fundraise and you're going to provide a product that's going to be regulated, and the investor says, well, you have to get your regulatory license first before I give you money. So it's really a conundrum. But something happened over the past couple of years where VC funding surpassed FDI investment, FDI levels. Wow. So foreign direct investment now is now lower than what the VC investments are coming in the country. And just to put it in context, it's still a fraction of the global amount that's being invested. Wow. So when you kind of take a step back and you ask and you say, well, Nigeria is such a large economy and you have so much opportunity here. How come it's just getting a fraction of the investment? And part of the reason is regulatory clarity, sometimes FX issues and currency issues and so on. But here lies the opportunity, because the regulator now has a seat at the table.
Sure.
To deploy a tool that says, I'm going to provide some regulatory consistency, even if it's not clarity, because it's sandbox, to say, here's how we're going to enable startups to start trying, and taking down some of the capital requirements as they're starting small is really a big door opener. And for the fintechs to turn around and tell their investors, I'm on the regulatory sandbox. Yeah. Here's the proof that the regulator knows I'm in market, and you can feel comfortable investing in me. So we have actually some features in the product over the next few months that we're going to help fintechs do that with investors. And believe it or not, we even got calls from central banks that say, can you help close that gap? How can we do better for the fintechs to raise money faster? Because it feeds into a broader purpose of getting capital inflow, stability, having job creation here locally. I come from a country that is desperately in need of that, so I'm very happy to be part of the solution here.
Great. We're indeed very excited to be your partner, and I think it's been worthwhile.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for
I
the
really
opportunity
appreciate
to work
your
with
partnership.
you. Thank you, and all the very best to Emtech, to GIC. Watch the space. Thank you.
We move.
We move.